Michigan, a 24-year-old Hindu lady, came from a very lowly background. When she was a youngster, her family frequently lacked adequate food, and the majority of the goods they purchased were pre-owned or used. Despite this, she was always incredibly sympathetic and never chastised them for anything, in contrast to many other kids who gripe and blame their parents for not granting them the comforts they want. Conversely, she was always there to support them, and even as a small child, she made it her mission to escape poverty so that she could provide a higher standard of living for her children. Welcome to USA Stories channel. Do not forget to subscribe and activate the bell button to receive all new updates. Now let's go to the story. Mates, Mishka was an exceptionally intelligent kid who always outperformed her peers in the classroom and excelled in her subjects. She genuinely wanted to remain home and read and study, even if her buddies went out to play. She enjoyed reading and science, and she knew that the information she gained from these subjects would help her forge the road that would ultimately bring her to her ideal destination. She was able to secure a scholarship at a nationally recognized institution following her high school graduation, which paid for all of her course costs. In record time, she graduated with honors, and immediately upon receiving her degree, she sent her resume to a reputable corporation seeking new hires. The young woman's enormous potential was seen by the company's director, Yamiris Kateri, who employed her right away. A few months later, Mishka was promoted to a higher job where she was paid enough to live comfortably and forget about her days of poverty because of her unwavering efficiency and discipline. Her coworkers soon started discussing the young woman's peculiar behavior. She always brought homemade food rather than, like most of them, going to restaurants for lunch and amusing herself at bars and shopping centers to decompress from the stress of work. She virtually always wore the same outfits, and whenever she went outside, she went to an ancient park with free admission. They claimed, "She's a miser who doesn't even spend on a new pair of shoes," as they all knew that she could afford a few indulgences with her earnings without having a significant negative impact on her economy. Eventually, the director heard the outrageous remarks. He informed everyone they could all spend their money as they saw fit, hoping to cauterize the talk. But in secret, he was really interested in this strange behavior of his worker, and if it hadn't been for that night, he had to remain late at work due to a meeting. He would have been tempted to call her cheap. When Yamiris descended the steps to the parking lot on Friday, the sun had already set. He saw that one of the lights was still on as he passed the ground-level office windows. He was curious since it was out of the ordinary for a worker to remain late on the last day of the work week. At that moment, he went to see who it was. The man screamed as he walked inside the office and almost passed out since there was just a kitchen knife and a little one that moved slightly under it on the desk. "Don't worry, sir. My name is Mishka, Yamiris," the young girl somberly stated. "I was using an electric stove to prepare every meal. I had not eaten all day, and by the time I arrived late today, I could not take the hunger any longer. I'm sorry. I'll make things right before I go, and I swear it won't happen again. Don't fire me, please." The director could have gone the entire day without eating, yet instead of going out to get food, she was there cooking in her office. He didn't understand how a management of his firm had only lately gotten his fortnightly salary. "I accept your apology, of course," he said. But before she could act in such a manner, she needed to tell him what was going on in her life. She requested him to sit down while still blushing shamefully, and then she started telling the story. "Well, my father, who was the family provider, regrettably passed suddenly just before I was 16 and ready to graduate from high school. Even though he had always lived a fairly modest existence, after that, things were rather tough. I had to be looked after by my 3 younger brothers since they were still quite little. I barely gave my mother enough time to finish making some more of the shoddy clothing they sold for a few pennies on the street. In order to support them at the time, I sought for a part-time job to combine with my studies. I arrived to the city having barely received my degree. How do you know that's where you can obtain better job offers and more respectable wages? Like my mother, my brothers, who are still in school, require proper nutrition, school materials, and uniforms. To be able to continue caring for them, she has to have a lot of strength. I send them more than half of my money so they may pay for the expenditures because of this, and I use the remaining amount to pay for my living expenses and basic necessities," the young woman stated. "I owe my parents a great deal for giving me life, for always making the ultimate sacrifice to ensure that I had a good upbringing, and for giving me all the love and confidence in the world. This is what I've set out to do. You can't imagine how many times I witnessed them leaving their plates empty in order to fill ours. I will not let them go without anything at all as long as I live. You know, my younger brothers tell me I'm an example to follow, and they constantly pitch in and help out around the house, even if they aren't old enough to work yet. We're so proud of them," she said in closing, clearly expressing how deeply this touched her. Gamarius was unable to contain his tears. He was affected to hear such heartfelt comments, and he also felt happy that such a young woman, who embraced such responsibility with a noble and mature attitude, was on his team. Everyone says that helping children when they're young is the right thing to do, but nobody ever brings up the idea that as we get older, support should be given to each other as well. And we should be the ones to care for them with the same love as they age, the employee remarked with excitement as she gathered her belongings. In addition to inviting her to dinner at a neighboring restaurant, the director reassured her that everything would be well. She was already kicking herself for accepting the offer, so she went with the least expensive option. Mishka's words an example of what it meant to love our family, as well as when we should be thankful for our parents and their priceless sacrifices, changed their perspective on life and the ideals they should impart in society. Yamiris, seeing she had the abilities to handle any role assigned to her, pledged to support her going forward and awarded her a fresh promotion. Friends, this really makes us think carefully about the negative views we occasionally harbor about our parents. We forget all of their love and sacrifices when we are influenced by whims or little things. In a selfless way, there is no better way to show someone you love them than to show them how much we appreciate everything they have done for us when they most need it. It also makes it obvious that you should always know someone's past before passing judgment. Everybody sails a distinct boat, even if we all appear to be crossing the same ocean. Many blessings and a huge hug. I appreciate you seeing. Would you kindly like and post the video on social media? We'll respond to you as soon as we can. Please remember to subscribe to our channel, give us a thumbs up, and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss any of our videos. If you enjoyed the tale, the next video that plays on your screen will probably move you too.